I'm Jordan Raynor, and this is the Word Before Work.
Today we're reading from Luke 6:27. Here's what it says. Love your enemies, do good to those who hate you. Again, that's Jesus speaking in Luke 6:27. Last week, we began exploring how our work should be uncommonly shaped by this idea of common grace, this doctrine of the goodness that God shows the righteous and the unrighteous, the goodness he shows to his friends and his enemies. Today, we'll see that common grace should lead us to be good to our enemies. Interestingly, that's the context of Matthew 5:45. Jesus said, quote, I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, because God makes his sun rise on both evil and good people, and he lets rain fall on the righteous and the unrighteous. You see it, right? Jesus is saying that we should do good to our enemies because of God's common grace. God is so good that he longs to do good to the righteous and the unrighteous. And he's calling you and me to be the conduits for those blessings. Now, you might not have anybody at work that you would describe as an enemy, but do you have a boss who's hard to love? A coworker who's spreading lies about you? Maybe a competitor who's knocking off one of your products? Of course you do. Everyone is currently working with or for someone that they consider to be less than friendly. God isn't calling you simply to do no harm to that person, but to proactively bless them. What does that look like practically? All right, well, let's say somebody on your team, an employee, a vendor, whatever, did a terrible job on a project. And it cost you a lot of time, a lot of headaches, a lot of energy, a lot of money, maybe even some social capital. They did such a bad job that they were fired or taken off of your team. Loving that enemy could look like praying that God would bless that person in their careers, giving them feedback to help them in their future, instead of, as I'm tempted to do, to write that person off and get back to work. It could look like proactively writing a LinkedIn recommendation that focuses on the things that person did do well on the job, or offering them forgiveness for how they wronged you. Maybe it's just refusing to speak poorly about that person with those who remain on the project. Now listen, I've been in the situation I just described and have not loved my enemy well. But the doctrine of common grace reminds me that I'm called to do better the next time, because God is seeking to do good to the righteous and the unrighteous. With that in mind, love your enemies exceptionally well today. Today's devotional only scratches the surface of how God's word connects to our work. If you want to go deeper, sign up for my free 20-day devotional called The Word Before Work Foundations at twbwfoundations.com. These email devotionals are designed to help you gain a rich understanding of the biblical narrative of work, how exactly your work matters for eternity, and what those truths mean for how we ought to work today. You can sign up right now, again, for free at twbwfoundations.com.